Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome today to this cast. We are still following Lambo through Group A from HomeStoryCup 23. This is the 5th match of the group, and it is going to decide the first place in Group A. It's either Lambo. We have over here Lambo from Shopify. And over here we have Reynor from Basilisk. So they're duking it out for first place in the group, obviously giving you an advantage going into the playoffs, since you have to most likely face a weaker opponent, or at least a opponent who has performed less well in their group. So we have Hatch first from both sides. It's going to be a pretty sick ZVZ. I personally love ZVZ whilst playing it myself, and because I love playing it, I also love watching it. It's the minute details that really snowball into a win for either side, or just create a crazy game. Not to mention all the cheesy possibilities and all the stylistic choices that Zergs can make. And hopefully I can identify and shout those out for you guys. So we have stock standard play right now. As you can see, they're aligned pretty well. Just 16 hatch, 18 gas, 17 pool. Their overlords are doing a relatively similar stuff as well. So these overlords are gonna say hi, and these likewise are gonna say hi. Very similar overlord pathing. So first deviation that we might see is if somebody stops mining gas or continues mining gas is more the I would say the regular thing is to keep mining gas. We got 2 Zerglings on the way for Reynor, whilst Lambo's still holding off, slightly greedier. So we got speed on the way and still staying in gas, whereas Reynor took 1 out of gas. So that's the first deviation here. Reynor was a little bit less greedy by making these Zerglings. But Lambo's being a little bit less greedy, or more tech heavy I suppose, with staying with 3 in gas. So we now also have some Zerglings for Lambo. 3rd base for Lambo and for Reynor. So still pretty similar stuff. Baneling nest for Reynor. And a couple more links to do some more follow-up scouting, and also a baneling nest for Lambo. So this is a mirrored build so far. You can also see that they're pretty similar in the worker count. Let's see. So Lambo also knows that it's 3 base versus 3 base. So they're both very aware. There's a Roach Warren now for Lambo, who has a little bit more gas. Unsurprisingly so. We have 3 in gas again for Reynor as well. Speed is about to finish for both. And Lambo's making a couple links to deal with this annoying harassment. And to make sure that his Roach Warren does not get scouted without Reynor having to pay for it with some Zerglings' lives. We have an Evo Chamber from Reynor and from a Lambo coming in. And now we have a little Roach Flood from Lambo. We only have 2 queens and no drones on the 3rd, so this is a slow Roach all-in, most likely. So a bunch of Roaches, and then he's going to follow up with Ling Bane, most likely. Might make some Ravagers in the front. Let's see. Reynor is identifying it. Hello? He's making a spine somewhere. Where is it? He's making a spine in the natural. He's making Lingbane at home. He does not have a Roach Warren, so he has 1 spine, 2 spine. Whereas Lambo is waddling his way over with these slower Roaches. We have 2 queens in the front. Reynor has 13 more drones, so if he holds this, he is totally fine. He also has his own Roach Warren on the way. These Banes trying to snipe Lambo's Banes. 2 more Banes coming in, slowly waddling in 2 Banes at a time, trying to catch these Banelings and possibly the Zerglings. Not working out. Spine is about to finish, but it's fully surrounded, so it's going to go down. More banelings on the way, but where's the defense from Reynor? He overdroned. He is in trouble. 2 spines in the natural, but this third feels like it's forfeit. Small counterattack force going maybe towards the third, hoping that there's going to be drones there, that Lambo is actually transitioning behind this, which he actually is. He's like, this is enough damage. If you have like 3-4 spines, that's even more damage. I'm just gonna go and drone up. I got a third base. I'm ahead. Both of them don't have a lair, I believe, so tech-wise, they're kind of even. Both of them don't have an upgrade, by the way. These Evos are just for show. Reynor probably cancelled his, knowing that he's in big trouble. Damn, and now there is 7 roaches in his main. What can he do? Yeah, oh, nice baneling connection. Doesn't target the low HP roach, but these drones are not getting out. I know queens are good, but I don't know if they're this good. He's just losing too much. Lambo's not... Yeah, GG, damn. Lambo slaps him down game 1. Now, moving on to Royal Blood, or the second game between Reynor and Lambo. Best of 3. Lambo with a vicious roach attack in game 1, and Reynor just not being able to stop that attack. He's slightly overdroned. He did react properly, but he just couldn't really muster the defense, and Lambo executed that attack pretty well, giving off barely any signs that there wasn't an attack coming in, let alone an all-in, because he just took a normal baneling nest, made a normal Evo chamber. So the only sign that we really had is that he kept mining from gas with 3 drones instead of 2, compared to Reynor's build, both going for hatch first again this game. So, like, they were doing the exact same build until Lambo was like, I'm just gonna plomp down this roach warren. If you see it, I probably just drone up. If you don't see it, bam, 8 roaches, and I'm coming for your throat. So, similar mirror builds this game. So let's see how Reynor adjusts to Lambo's, well, pretty fearless play, honestly. He's just like, Reynor, I'm not afraid of you. I'm coming for you. And come for him he did. And so now Lambo's in a very comfortable position, actually leading 1-0 in the series. He can kind of do something funky, or maybe the other way around, kind of expect Reynor to do something funky and just kind of hard counter it, which is, that's how mirror matchup works sometimes. You can take a pretty big gamble, and if it pays off, suddenly it's 2-0, you're done. And if it doesn't pay off, you can still play the game. Maybe you pull it off, and otherwise you have a clean third game to play. So, very similar builds right now. Lambo scouts the natural, Reynor scouts in the natural, so they both see the creep. So they both know it's not like a pool hatch type of build, because they can see their own creep and see that it matches almost perfectly. 2 gas again for Reynor, or 2 drones in gas. And also 2 drones in gas by Lambo. So this is completely mirrored. Like, their exact money counts are almost the same. It's because these minerals are... well, the larvae on Lambo's side spawn closer to the minerals than Reynor's side. So that's why Lambo probably has, like, 20 minerals extra. Third base goes down for Lambo again. They both scout the third bases that are going down. Baneling nests are going down. It's almost as if these guys play the same build. So let's see who deviates first. We have no Roach Warren right now from Lambo, both in 3 in gas. Nope, 2 in gas for Reynor still. So Lambo puts his drone in gas a little earlier. Let's see where he wants to spend that. He's making a bunch of lings here as well. But Reynor has also elected to invest in a couple lings. So we might have a little Lingbane skirmish here. We do have another Roach Warren for Lambo in the back with a second gas this time around. Whereas Reynor's still on 1 gas. Does get an Evo chamber though. And he is... Oh, nice block, nice block. This is of course a natural with a tight choke, where 2 buildings and a queen nicely prevent your opponent from scouting. We have 5 more drones for Reynor on the way. So Reynor's doing a fairly similar thing to last game, but now he's getting, I feel like, a slightly faster Roach Warren. He's getting +1 Carapace, whereas Lambo's getting +1 attack. But Reynor is ahead in drones right now. And even getting more ahead. Whereas Lambo's making 7 roaches again. He's making it look like it's a similar build. But I feel like there's like 8 more drones than last game. And oh, he was actually upgrading, but now he canceled the upgrade. He's going for another all-in play. This is basically the same thing. He was trying to oh, they're stuck here. Lambo, this is gonna delay your timing. Oh, this feels bad. This feels really bad. This gives, oh no, this gives Reynor a couple extra seconds to muster up a defense. But he just fires up 4 more drones. He's like, I have enough roaches. I'm not gonna cancel my upgrade again. He does not have a Baneling Nest anymore. Did he cancel that? Or did it die somehow? Maybe he killed it. So we have a similar attack by Lambo again. But it just hits later this time. But it's definitely with more units. With more of an economic backbone. But still hard to hold. These Banes could have gone into this mineral line, blown up the spine, but instead he's targeting the Roach Queen. He does have a good amount of roaches still. The drones come back. They were afraid of those Banelings. But it looks like Reynor just has too many roaches. And meanwhile, Lambo's just still making units. He's committed to this. But this just looks straight up weaker than his attack from last game. Reynor playing a little bit more careful, and it's paying off for him. Now Lambo's has to fall back, starts an upgrade. Because he's going to have a lot of lings with Ravagers, probably. And if he can get this +1 Carapace versus the +1 Carapace from Reynor, his roaches won't, his high roach count won't do that much, because he needs +1 range, and he probably assumes that +1 range is on the way. And if roaches have +1 range, obviously, we all know that they, I think it's 2-shot Zerglings instead of 3-shot, which is a very big deal with these low attack speeds that the roaches provide to themselves. So we have a lair on the way for Lambo, but we also have 34 drones, so I feel like this is just a fake lair. Because how can it not be a fake? Maybe he's going for roach speed, but I mean, I haven't seen him make any drones. I feel like he's just going for another follow-up attack. He has so many lings. I think he's literally just waiting for this upgrade, and he's gonna go again for another all-in. Reynor's going to see it. He also hasn't really droned up anymore. He's just making units. I don't know how you're going to pull this one out of the hat. Reynor's been playing really solid. He's like, you got me once, but you're not going to fool me twice. I'm very sorry about that. Big Ling counterattack into the third. But there is some Banelings for defense, and then Reynor also moves on to the offense. He doesn't have +1 range. Just started it. Also started a lair for himself. Lambo has a lair, I think. Nope, he canceled it. It was indeed fake. Oh, Lings came in from the back, but they don't want to fight with these Banes. He does have +1 armor, which means you need 2 Banelings to kill these Zerglings. This actually looks like a decent fight for Lambo. As long as these Banes don't get insane hits, maybe he can do some damage. Ravagers are good units. Ooh, but the Ling count has been thinned out a lot. The Roach front line is gone, and these juicy Ravagers have been exposed. GG. Before you know it, it's over. And since Reynor just took the second game, we're going to a final game on to Ancient Cistern, I would pronounce it as. Versus, yeah, the last match in this best of 3 between Reynor and Lambo, they've been doing pretty similar builds in the past 2 games. We've seen Reynor and Lambo both doing a pretty standard 3 base with keeping drones on gas mostly, skipping a queen to afford a 3rd base, and then making sure you have the Baneling Nest in case one of them wants to dance with Ling Bane, and then they transition into a Roach Warren. And we haven't really seen them go from there or any further, because Lambo has elected in both games to do a Roach push. In the first game, it came really early and was really strong. And in the second game, he elected to be a little bit more economical about it, and I think he was trying to fake it. And then he thought, Reynor's being greedy, so I'm gonna all in anyways. But Reynor just made the perfect amount of drones, then was able to make the perfect amount of roaches and banes to hold off the Lambo attack, which was more fearsome, but did hit later than in the first game. So the second game, Reynor was able to hold off the roach aggression. And now we head into the third game with that data in mind. And we see similar builds once again. Hatch first, gas into pool, with the overlords greeting each other again. I don't know if he tried to sneak away from this blue overlord here. If you don't see a second overlord as a Zerg, you're kind of wondering if your opponent is making an early pull against you, which honestly doesn't really change anything until you see the hatchery. You probably just keep, or I know that you just keep your larva a little bit until you see this creep and you're like, oh, okay, nothing wrong, nothing going on. So maybe that delays a couple drones for 10 seconds, you know, if you just make the 2 Zerglings right away to scout anyway. So usually it's not a problem, but it's small things that can throw your opponent off. And as you can see, it's perfectly mirrored once again. 2 in gas for Lambo after speed is done, and 2 as well for Reynor. And we have a 3rd base underway for Reynor and a slightly later 3rd base for Lambo, but still pretty similar stuff. Baneling Nest right away and Baneling Nest right away. 1 queen in front, 1 in the main. Still have 2 guys in gas for both. Drone counts are even, so they are not deviating as of yet. They're just doing the thing that they think is the most efficient and gives them a good staging ground to then launch a strategy that will hopefully win them the game. So we have a couple links coming in for both sides, actually quite a few for Reynor. So we see that Lambo is going up in drones slightly, where Reynor is investing in a couple more Zerglings, which can be used for some Ling Bane aggression. This is why both sides have the Baneling Nest. It's either defensive or offensive. Reynor and Lambo sees these Lings with his scouting Ling and then also overlords, so he elects to make a couple Banelings defensively. He also has his queen in the front, or 2 queens in the front, and is pulling his 3rd one. And now his 3rd is under siege. So let's see the dance. We're probably not going to see any big hits, and if we do, then it might be game deciding. But we see behind this, Lambo is confident. He's also already sneaking in a couple drones here and there, making sure these Lings can't run into into his base. 1 Baneling can't kill any drones. Oh, this 1 Baneling is doing a lot. Oh, the queens are getting caught. 1 queen is dead. 2nd queen about to fall. Oh, 2nd queen did fall. We have 1 more Baneling from Lambo. Another couple on the way. So I think he's holding, but he's losing a lot of queens. He also already lost 2 queens. 3 queens so far. I don't think he has any more queens. He has 1 more queen in the front. 2 from Reynor. Reynor's just committing. Look at the drone count. Lambo's 5 ahead because he lost a couple, but he was even further ahead. Now he's losing even more, so now they're even. So even if Reynor backs off now, he's kind of fine. Hopefully he knows that. But this seems like Lambo is defending. He has a nice amount of Lings. He has a good backbone of banelings. And of course, he has the defensive resource of queens that Reynor doesn't have. Oh, this queen gets abandoned in the front line and just dies right away. Oh! Oh! The Banes just destroyed Reynor's attacking force. That was his whole advantage. If he had better splits there, I think Lambo would have a tough time defending, but right now... Actually, 7 drones were lost on the side of Reynor. We're gonna check. So, whilst this queen was dying, these sneaky lings were running into the natural of Reynor, and they started slaughtering the drones. Can you imagine having the APM to defend the Ling Bane that is threatening to kill you and then still managing to right-click on the drones? And of course, now at home, Lambo defended, and if you look at the worker count, Reynor's suddenly down 11 workers. So he's in it for, well, the rest of the game, basically. He has to get something done with this Ling Bane aggression and either sneak drones in or get a big W, like getting this third base or getting some drone kills of his own to try and catch up. But if Lambo gets comfortable and can sneak in more drones like he's doing right now, I see almost no way back in for Reynor. Lambo is playing this game very solidly. That counterattack was very nice. Really taxing his opponent on the APM. I mean, also himself, I suppose. But also taxing his opponent, obviously. And like, it's a low-risk, high-reward play, I would say. And now what do you do as Reynor? You have to keep Lambo on his toes. Don't let him drone up too much. Don't show him that you are not reinforcing this attack, but still threaten whilst you drone up in the back. And Reynor has been doing that pretty well. Look at that, he's just holding the drone key, making a couple extra banes, being like, please don't attack me just yet. And he's caught up in drones pretty well. And Lambo does not have any lair tech. He doesn't have a Roach Warren. He did not take any upgrades, so they're pretty similar on tech. So it's always going to be a Ling Bane fight, even if Lambo moves across. Which means that if Reynor just doesn't skimp on his Banes, he probably will be able to defend even if he has less Ling Baneling. Because he will have that defensive resource in the Queens. Now there is a lair on the way for Reynor. We've seen a Roach Warren as well, so he might elect to invest in a couple Roaches as well. Evo Chamber now. We have +1 range for Lambo coming together with his Roach Warren and Lair as well, so we're going into kind of a Roach versus Roach, although it might become mutus for Reynor, especially looking at this 4th gas, 5th gas, and 6th gas. I feel like he is going to risk it for the biscuit and throw down a Spire as soon as this lair finishes. And maybe... Oh, he actually was making 2 spines, thinking he would get attacked by Reynor upon seeing these Roaches probably move out. But we know that Reynor had no such plans. He droned up heavily on his 3 bases. And he just has his lair. He has +1 speed. I am a little confused. He has 6 gases. Oh, but he doesn't have 1 build up, I guess? I'm expecting tech here. Otherwise, I guess you might go like Ravager heavy, Roach Ravager? That could be the other avenue here? Because I guess he knows that if he throws down a Spire, he is basically asking for Lambo to come knock on his door and bust it down. And he knows how hard he has been droning. He needs a little longer to get that advantage. And now the Spire gets thrown down. So after the scouting was done by Lambo and he now sees these Roaches come across, so he's just making OVs and Roaches, probably. Bro, you don't even have Roach speed. This is so scary. Reynor has Roach speed earlier in the Lambo, though. I am impressed by Reynor's balls, really. Like, maybe he scouted that the lair for Lambo was later than his own lair, so he knows that he can make a move as long as he has roach speed. And Lambo does not have roach speed right now, which means he can kind of dance around without Lambo really being able to catch up, but he gets a deny on the 4th base off the back of this roach speed timing, which is pretty crazy. Meanwhile, we have some Zerglings moving into the 3rd base of Reynor and getting 10, 11 drone kills. Ooh, these Banelings were not in position, or the Lings just danced around them really well. Oh my god, the surround. Now roach speed is done for Lambo. What do you do, Reynor? You can't run, you can't hide unless you have burrow, which you don't. We have 2 mutas on the way. Are there any more mutas? No, there's 2 mutas because he just does not have the minerals right now. His 4th base is going down to a big roach force that is in front of his natural almost. You are gonna have like 4 or 5 mutas. That's not enough. You would feel good about those if Lambo was investing into Ravagers right now, but he's not. He's like, I don't need no Ravagers. I'm making 13 Hydras with +1 range. Like, these mutas are great if your opponent is going for a Roach Ravager and is electing to skip the Hydras and using Ravagers as kind of like the more high range, high DPS unit. But there's Hydras here, and there's more coming. Couple spores. Lambo's gearing up for a final 1-2 punch when he's maxed. Reynor's only 150 supply. Is going to be very difficult for him. So he's making his 4th base, and Lambo is as well. So maybe Reynor wants to walk across the map and kind of distract Lambo from attacking his base. But what is he to do? He has 4 mutas. He knows that, well, my mutas are going to be useless. He just lost 2 of them. So he has 2 more muta. Maybe they can find an overlord or 2. But they aren't going to do much more than that. Lambo even starting +2 range and Grooved Spines, I think it's called. Nice. So I'm actually quite surprised that he's not just moving out with his max. Like, he has money, he is maxed. Like, just make 2 spines per base and go, you know? Like, the longer you wait, the longer Reynor has to build up an army. And now, indeed, he is knocking on the door. Chilling in this little low ground area. Daring Reynor to come down, but Reynor's force looks really small, and that's because he's counterattacking your 3rd base. And Lambo's retreating with his entire army, which could make this worth it for Reynor if he gets good damage done. Queen kills is a good start. He is running into the main here, making sure that Lambo's forces have to move the maximum amount back. So when they want to attack, they have to move the biggest distance towards Reynor's base again. And you see Reynor's supply slowly increasing, even though he's going to lose a lot more roaches. But that doesn't matter. He's just going to do another attack with his other force, with his reinforcements as well. Maybe if Lambo doesn't split his army correctly, you can do some damage here. This one roach is being a god. Only has 1 kill though. He's just looking good. As we can see, Lambo only 50 workers, but it doesn't matter. Just make more units at this point. Because he has enough money, and then he knows my army is so much bigger than yours. Because there's no way you have 50 workers right now. Unless I somehow killed a bunch. So now Lambo is going in for that killing swing. He just finished +1 or +2 range. And Reynor does not have it. Lambo has a +2 upgrade advantage, which is why he's just move commanding onto his armies. Like, my army is going to be way more efficient. I have high DPS Hydras, and I have more upgrades, and I have more army supply. This defensive queen resource ain't gonna cut it anymore. This is the mid to late game, my guy. And this is nice micro from Reynor, kind of like trying to pull this, well, superior force apart, and trying to use his shorter supply line in his favor by consistently taking trades before Lambo can reinforce his own army. But his fourth is about to be forfeit, and these roaches that are trickling out are also forfeit, dying one by one, and if we look at the supply, it is not looking promising for Reynor, taking good trades, trying to shave off small clumps of units, targeting the very juicy Ravagers, trying to move back, trying to not get surrounded, trying to have like half Lambo's force not fight his force. But he has no more space to retreat back. It's like you're on the smash stage and you're near the ledge. You've no more space to move back. You can't dash back anymore. And Lambo actually takes down Reynor 2-1. And with that, he tops Group A. Looking really clean right now. Lambo is such a beast. Guys, thank you for joining the cast. I hope to see you again. I think next cast we're going to cover some Group B matches. So I hope to see you then. Cheers.